following findings. Number one, the contract for the supply and delivery of laptop computers for public school teachers under the 2021 Deped Laptop for Teachers Procurement Project was overpriced by at least 979 million pesos. Number two, there is sufficient basis to believe that there was conspiracy to facilitate and or generate an overprice which indicates manifest partiality, evident bad faith, and or gross inexcusable neglect on the part of senior officials and staff of the former Deped administration and the Ps-Dbm. While they may seemingly act separately, concerted acts were evident to create an opportunity for favored bidders to submit bloated and excessive bids, leading to an overprice in the purchase of laptops. This finding is supported by a Commission on Audit report and audit recommendations presented to the committee by the Commission on Audit itself. Number three, the repeated changes by Deped in the use and allocation of 2.4 billion pesos from tablets to mobile connectivity load for students and then to laptops for teachers is highly arbitrary, unjustified, improper, and not beneficial to Deped teachers and students. Number four, the outsourcing of procurement tasks by Deped to Ps-Dbm contravenes Section 7.3.3 of the 2016 revised IRR of Republic Act 9184, as Deped has the proficiency and capability to undertake the procurement. Further, rather than hastening the procurement, the transfer to Ps-Dbm procurement task delayed the process and facilitated the anomaly subject of the investigation conducted. Number five, the agreement entered into by the Deped and Ps-Dbm dated 16 February 2021 was antedated, as it was only signed on May 28, 2021, thereby making the procurement activities conducted highly irregular and questionable. In this regard, the obligating of funds supposedly for the procurement of the laptops on February 18, 2021, without the said memorandum agreement in place is likewise irregular and subject to question. Number six, the increase of the unit price component of the approved budget for the contract, ABC, from 35,036.50 to 58,300, which caused the reduction of the quantity of the laptops, is highly irregular. It was generated from a manipulated market survey. This was gathered during the hearing, Mr. President, and the price analysis of Ps-Dbm which was accepted and approved by Deped without question. Mr. President, number seven, the Special Bids and Awards Committee, head of procuring entity of Ps-Dbm, and the officials of Deped caused grave and undue injury to and prejudice to the Deped and our public school teachers when they procured and accepted the entry-level Dell Latitude 3420 with Intel Celeron 1.8 GHz processor, despite said processor being below the specifications stated in the bidding documents. Pangwalo, number 8, Mr. President. Contrary to the avowed purpose of the procurement, which is to ensure that teachers will have the necessary tools to conduct classes through online learning, the Dell Latitude 3420 procured were diverted to a large number of non-teaching personnel, about 12%, Mr. President, and as testified by teachers in the Commission on Audit during the hearings conducted, the laptops were too slow because the processor is Intel Celeron, which is outdated, and the price is too high considering the entry-level specifications. Mr. President, on the basis of the findings which I just mentioned, your Senate Blue Ribbon Committee recommends the following: the abolition of Ps-Dbm and to require government departments, agencies, offices, instrumentalities, including GOCCs, SUCs, and local governments to conduct their own procurement as an exercise of their fiduciary duty to be accountable for the public funds appropriated for their respective offices. Mr. President, I have filed the bill relative to this. I have filed today Senate Bill number 1803, amending Republic Act 9184, otherwise known as the Government Procurement Reform Act, providing for the eligibility of bidders in the procurement of goods and infrastructure projects and for other purposes. I have a copy here, Mr. President. Kapafile ko lang po ito ngayon, alas 3:40 ng hapon ngayong araw na ito. Mr. President, your committee likewise recommends the following. Amend RA 9184, as I have mentioned, to provide for transparency and accountability requirement for joint venture entities or arrangements participating in biddings. Yung joint venture po, dapat meron silang expertise doon po sa kanilang sinasalihang venture. Amend Republic Act number 9184 to provide for transparency and accountability safeguards during the planning and pre-bidding stages of public procurement, including but not limited to the setting of the ABC and technical specification or goods, services, or infrastructure to be procured. Number 4, recovery of the overprice in the amount of at least 979 million pesos as proceeds of corruption and the amount totally recovered by the courts, by the Sandigan Bayan, to be placed in a special National Teachers Trust Fund to support the health and medical needs of public school teachers and educational needs of their children through a special scholarship program. Number 6, the immediate conduct of a special fraud audit by the Commission on Audit to examine the various accounts and financial documents related to the overpricing of the laptops and determine relevant accountability. Number 7, request the AMLC investigation on the overpriced procurement, including an inquiry into the bank deposits of the public officials identified in the investigation conducted. Further recommendation is to request the BIR, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, to conduct a special tax compliance audit or a tax fraud audit inquiry to determine whether the proper taxes were paid on the income of the joint venture consortium partners. And finally, Mr. President, the filing of criminal administrative cases against officials of the Deped and Ps-Dbm, which we mentioned in committee report number 19. To make matters worse, Mr. President, the committee has also discovered during the course of our hearings that as of August 2022, there is still a total of 1,678 laptops that have not been distributed to teachers and are still gathering dust in some places. This could have helped 1,678 teachers in the fulfillment of their teaching duties. Mr. President, if we make an estimate of at least 30 students per teacher, these laptops could have benefited around 50,340 students had they been fully distributed. Mr. President, as I mentioned a while ago, I also filed Senate Bill 1802, abolishing the Ps-Dbm permanently, Mr. President. Sayang po, Mr. President, sayang. In closing, Mr. President, the author